Welcome back to Fire and Smoke, Blight and Bloom. We are Philip,
Abby,
Blake, Ethan, Eric,
also known as Dungeon Master.
Odessa Vandiver,
Randolph Higdon, Scratch,
Sleeves.
Last episode, the Furries made their way to the Holler, where Odessa Vandiver knows some people who might be able to give them a place to rest and recuperate, gain their energy back up. Safe place to stay for the night. They tried and failed to disguise Scratch and Sleeves as a very short man in trench coat with fox head. The people on the porch, all in their own time, digested the talking mutated foxes, except for Claude Gougeot, who seemed to really take to it right away, understanding that his dad always told him about the forest spirits. You guys had a conversation with the people on the porch, the Harbins and the Vaz Goujots, and Jess, a woman that Odessa had never met before. You acquired a good place to stay for the night at Esther Vose's and Claude Gougeot's house. And Esther even made you guys soup for dinner and cake for breakfast to celebrate the fake birthdays of Scratch and Sleeves.
real birthdays.
real birthdays.
The real
And I helped.
birthdays. And Higs helped. The Furries had a conversation in the morning about where they should go and what they should do after Higs had a dream that made him trust his gut and follow a pull he was feeling deeper into the forest to find something. Everyone decided that they would talk to Jess before they leave and then head off into the woods, going deeper and deeper into the mountains. And that's where we are now. You guys are on their way to find Jess. You're not quite sure exactly what house she was at, but on the way there you pass by the Harbin's house and you see that Jess and May and Edward are already sitting on the porch in the morning having cups of coffee.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, good morning, y'all. How'd everybody sleep? I see the foxes are still real. And Jess says, yes, okay, they are real. I see.
Yeah, they're real, and it's their birthdays, so they got little hats too.
Oh, I'm noticing the little hats. Are those homemade? They look wonderful.
Yeah, we made them this morning along with some cake for them.
There was an accident with the scissors.
You see, May says, accident with the scissors? What happened?
Well, why don't you ask this one?
Scratch. It's no big. It was just a cut.
Well, are you all headed out for the day, or somebody tried to kill you, I understand, and...
We do have a plan, but first we want to talk to Jess.
Yes, I appreciate you stopping by. I mean, I didn't necessarily have anything specific that I wanted to say. I mean, how often do you get the chance to talk to some foxes, you know?
I get a chance for a day.
That's a good one.
You are very cute.
Yes. Sleeves is a cute fox.
Are you talking about yourself and the third fox?
Yes.
I'm gonna make an insight check. I'm so suspicious. Something's wrong.
They're like, the flirting is too much.
The flirting?
Whoa.
Yeah, Jess is courting the forest spirits. Something
People can't be nice to you guys.
can't be nice. Something's going wrong.
I think this is no.
She was saying cute in the way, it's like a little kid.
That's true.
He's literally playing a cute little kid.
It's a 13 insight.
She seems genuinely interested in connecting with you guys. She just seems like a people person would be a good way to describe it. Somebody who likes to talk to people. How long have you two been like this?
Well, it's been maybe a few years now.
Was there anything in particular that happened?
Yeah, actually, we sat and thought about it. We ate a bad rabbit. Like a rabbit that maybe was a talking rabbit. It was a long time ago. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, it kind of tastes bitter.
Oh, sorry that happened. What about you two? Are you both from the mountains? And she looks at Odessa and at Higs.
Actually, I'm from the city. This guy's from the mountains.
Yep. Lived here all my life.
Well, I've never heard somebody more confident in what they were saying.
Yeah, you could tell from my clothes that I'm a real forest guy.
So you're from the city and she's from the mountains.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
That's it. Jess, what brings you here again? Where are you from?
Where am I from?
Yeah.
Well, I've lived here, as I said, for a few years. I came to the mountains to see what all the stories my grandmother told me were about. I was born out west. Just decided to go on a little journey of self-discovery, you know? I made my way to the mountains, and I have enjoyed it so far.
Do you have any plans to go back?
Oh, yeah. No, I miss my family. I've been away for a few years. We're Shawnee. These mountains are very beautiful. My grandmother, my grandmother lived further north, more towards the state of Ohio. Her parents, it's a bit of a heavy story. She spent some time in the mountains before they decided to move west to Oklahoma to join the rest of their people after removal. But she always talked about the mountains and the time she spent here.
Have you happened to have visited the mining town nearby?
No, I like I said, she and the rest of our family lived further north, I was told. So I went to see that place, and then I started traveling the rest of the Appalachian Mountains. But along the journey, I found this place, this community. I stopped here one night, and it sounds a little silly, but I really connected with the people here, and
It's hard to say no to Claude.
I really fell in love with the people here. The community seemed very nice, and then I stayed a little bit longer, and then a few days turned into a few weeks, and I mean, it's hard to believe, but I've been here for a couple years. I just have been living in one of the cabins, enjoying living the life that my grandmother told me about how she lived as agrarians up in the high mountains, and it's been nice.
Years?
2 years, yeah.
I cannot believe you've been here for years.
Well, you know, my grandma, the reason I started this journey was because my grandmother passed away, and I kind of took this journey for her to see her mountains, and I'm always sensitive to bring this up because I don't know how people react. I wanted to see what the states were like. You know, I was born in the free lands out west, and I never lived under a flag or anything like that. And my grandmother and my parents told me many horrible stories, and I understood them. But I don't know, fatal curiosity. I wanted to come see what the people here are like. And there are a lot of bad people here. But when I was making my way through the mountains, I found good people, these good people, and it infatuated me. And I spent some time here. I knew I would go back and see my parents, and I don't know. It's not really logical. I've been told that I don't make a lot of logical decisions, but I will return to my family soon enough, probably. It looks like things are going a bad way here, what with the forests and mining and whatnot. It doesn't seem like it's long for this world, the mountain way of life, so it might be time to go back to my family.
But do you think that you could help, stop that, help preserve the mountain at all?
We've got a good life out west, and I don't think it's on me to help people of the United States deal with the United States. I don't like to run away from problems. It just seems like it's not my problem to help solve.
If it's not your problem to help solve, will it ever be solved?
I guess that's a question for you.
I think if you went to the mining town nearby, you would think differently.
I've seen the scars of the mines. I've seen the cleared stumps of the forest, and then I come back here and I connect with the people here and I like them. I just think it's putting a lot on me to say that this is my responsibility when I don't want to be I don't want to put venom into any of my words.
But have you seen the angels?
Angels?
The angels.
Here, Edward speaks up. Oh, the angels? Yeah, when I was in the mining town, the ones that came to the Sunday service.
Yes.
Now that you remind me, I meant to bring this up. I don't think while I was there in the Sunday service, the angels ever gave names. They kind of just sat and listened to the sermon and then healed people. Has that been kind of what's been happening since as well?
Yeah, they're under this guise that they can heal people.
Well, I mean, I saw them healing people.
But do you believe it?
Well, I saw it with my eyes. How could I not believe it?
I've seen it too, with my eyes. But there has to be something more to it. You know, there has to be something behind it.
Well, you know, I kind of felt the same way. The whole thing felt weird to me. I've never been one for those sermons. A preacher, give me the heebie-jeebies for some reason. But I brought it up because I wanted to tell you that I saw weeks ago or maybe a month ago, I was out hunting far out away from the Holler, and I saw one of the angels because I never knew. I was so intrigued. I never knew where the angels went. They came into town for the sermons, right? And then they'd leave. They'd go home, but I didn't know where home was, and they never said much of anything. They just let the preacher do all the talking. But I saw one way out in the woods. It was the Italian woman. I never got their names, but it was the Italian woman of the three of them, and she was walking through the woods carrying a thing of flowers. And I felt real weird, so I didn't say anything or try to stop her or have a conversation if she looks real solemn or sad or something. So I just let her go by. But I think she must live around there somewhere.
What do you know where she was headed? You said she was like sad and she had flowers.
She was walking through the woods up one of the hills. I don't know where she was heading. I don't know necessarily where she came from, but if she was walking that slowly, she couldn't come from far. It was early in the morning, unless she was walking all night.
She was sad and she had flowers.
Yeah.
Someone die? Like,
It sounds like the angels aren't real people in some sense, especially if one of them was like, I'll jump off a cliff to escape this. Like,
Was that an angel?
was that an angel?
We don't know.
I guess I don't know if that's an angel.
Can I? Oh, I'm gonna speak up in character. Edward, I know you said they didn't speak much at all because the preacher did the talking. Just want to make sure I have all the details. Have you heard them talk?
Oh, well, sure. They say niceties, and when they were healing somebody, they'd say something about the good word or that. But all the important conversation, all the preaching, they left to the preacher. They really didn't take center stage much at all.
Okay, I only ask because, well, Sleeves has similar powers to these angels.
Sleeves is an angel.
He can heal, but we've also encountered moles that seem to have similar intelligence to them, but one of them couldn't speak. So I was just trying to connect dots.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah, thanks.
No, yeah, they were people. They were, they wear their regular clothes. They also maybe sometimes wore a white garment or a scarf or something white to the effect of cleanliness or something or other. They never had the coal soot that the rest of us had, but they were regular. They were human. They talked. They just didn't. They spoke, but they didn't talk. Does that make sense, or is that too metaphorical?
Like they would say more like scripts that were prepared.
No, just not anything important. They small talk. Those are the words I'm trying to think of. They'd make small talk, and they'd never let anything get on about personal matters. They never gave names. They were the angels. They were an angel. Preacher would direct you to an angel.
I mean, that could also just be a cult, right? Like, I guess that doesn't necessarily have to be something supernatural. It could just be a weird cult. It's just that there is something supernatural happening.
Yeah. Could we get that on a map? Anyone have a map?
Well, I mean, if you wanted, you could borrow. May, do we have that? Do we have a map in the trunk? And she says, well, sure, I think we, and she gets up and walks inside. After a few moments, you hear some rummaging, and then she comes out with a tattered map of the mountains. It looks like a surveyor's map almost. A lot of surveyors, Odessa, would come around when you were younger. People would land rights were always complicated in the mountains because most everybody who lived here was living on somebody else's land. Most mountaineers were living delinquently on land owned by some rich person out in Philadelphia or New York or DC who never came out to the mountains. They just deed exchange after deed exchange changed hands. People would own huge swaths of land. But surveyors would come out because some mountaineers would have their own deeds that they made that courts would recognize. And so if they could get the deeds from those people, then they could have a legal challenge to the other people who owned the land. It was very complicated, but surveyors would come out a lot, is the point. And it looks like an old surveyor's map of this whole stretch of mountains. Edward says, yeah, right here. And he marks on the map the area where he was hunting in, where he saw the angel.
Wait, is that still happening?
What?
Is that still happening, like in 1933?
To an extent.
I mean, that's a potential way to get the loggers off the land, like in a less important sense.
What if they actually have the rights to the land?
It's possible. I don't know. You think Jove is like not a shady guy?
Yeah.
Sounds like he's a shady. That sounds like the only thing I know about him is that he's a shady business
That's
person.
true.
I'm just saying that's something to keep in the back pocket. But yeah, now we have a map.
Yeah, Edward hands you the map. Scratch. Softly chomp down on it.
Actually, can I have that? I don't want your slobber on it.
Oh yeah.
All right, I let
be
go of
careful.
it. But rude.
You see, Jess says, well, I appreciate you coming and talking to me. I was just really interested in the two of you, the two foxes. You really seem like spectacular little... I don't know if you two are really spectacular animals.
Thank you.
I really think, Odessa, I don't want to leave on a bad note. It seems like maybe it got a little bit snippy at the end, and I apologize if that was my fault. I really do think that there's enough room in the mountains for everybody that wants to be here, just not for the companies that are cutting down the trees or for the coal mines that are blighting the landscape. Life is good in the freelands. It took a long time to get that way. West of the Mississippi, there's peace and autonomy. And I think the mountains could use that same autonomy. But it's not my fight to forge ahead with.
We respect your decision, and we are 4 very strong people / foxes that can
Thank
make
you.
a difference.
Furries. We're the furries, right?
The what?
The
What did you say?
The furries.
You're the furries?
Yeah, we're the furries.
What an interesting name.
We came up with it
They've
ourselves.
got fur, and she's got hair, and my trench coat is very dirty.
You also have hair.
That's
Well,
No,
not,
he's bald.
not that much hair.
not enough.
Have you been bald this whole time?
Well, I lift up my
Say
cap.
no.
I lift up my cap. It's mostly there.
You're a young man. I mean, you're not young per se, but you're not middle aged.
The word gets to you.
Okay,
This is what happens when you take notes, people. Don't take notes.
that's an interesting character development. I didn't notice. Yeah, that the hat you've been wearing is really hiding that rather large bald spot.
Yeah, I try not to take it off too much.
Well, it was nice to meet you, the furries.
Don't laugh. It's
Yeah, don't
serious.
laugh. Don't laugh.
Don't
Guys,
Take that one more
Don't
time.
laugh.
Take that one more time.
No, no, we're not taking it.
we're just gonna shame you.
Will we ever see you again?
Well, I probably wasn't going to head out right now. I was really enjoying... And you see May says, oh, of course, you have to stay for a little longer. I mean, Jess, I don't know how we're going to get on without you. I'm going to miss you so much. And Jess says, you see, this is sort of why it turned into a couple of years. Just every time I thought about maybe heading back, I know I'm going to break May's heart, and makes it really hard. But I probably wasn't going to head out right now. Maybe sometime in the next few weeks. So if you stop back by, you can say hi, of course.
Cool beans. I just coined that term right now, actually.
Cool beans.
Wow.
Wow,
That's a big deal.
That's canon. Yeah.
1 point for the furries.
Point one for the furries. Many more to come, hopefully.
As long as those roots don't consume the stars.
What?
It's
What
just
about roots consuming the
a,
stars?
just a dream I had.
Oh, you have a hyper imagination.
Hopefully it doesn't become a problem.
All right. Well, we have the map. We can probably go check out where this angel was before we worry about your gut feeling, Grape.
Can you point out?
If you you have the map, and based off of where Odessa knows that you are and where Edward marked the houses, you can kind of figure out that you're being pulled in the general direction. Not necessarily a straight arrow there, but it might be either on the way or just after. Unclear, but it looks like if you just start walking in that direction, one of them would happen first.
That's what I figured. Odessa, can you point out where we are on this map?
Yeah, we're right here at the Holler. So now we just need to get to where Edward marked, right?
And that, if I'm reading this map correctly, it's that way?
Actually, it's that way.
Oh, this is that mount. Okay.
Yeah.
Classic city goers.
But if it's that way, that's the same direction I was about to take us in.
Well, that's perfect then.
You have a good gut instinct.
Let's hope it's a good thing.
Or the roots will consume the stars. Also an option.
Well, I guess we should get a move on then before that happens.
As you're about to go, you see Edward says, well, Scratch and Odessa and Sleeves and Grape. It was nice to get to spend a little bit of time with you guys. I hope you had a good sleep and good luck.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You guys walk into the forest, going deeper still, using both the map, Odessa's knowledge of these backwoods, and the gut feeling that Higs has, pulling him in certain directions, along certain ridges, past certain creeks.
I wonder how hard it's pulling. Like if you laid down on a skateboard, would you like slowly start rolling in that direction? You know, could you like get in the water or something?
Odessa, you even see you pass through a section where you're looking around, enjoying the sunshine. You can hear the calls of birds and scuttling of animals in the distance, and you're not seeing any more talking animals. Nobody's catching your eye. But as you're looking around, you notice you're in a section that's where an old burn had happened. It's not that everything is burned, but where a section of the forest was burned and cleared for agriculture, something that people in the Holler did sometimes. Slash and burn, some might call it. It's just a section where there's a little area where all the trees are about the same age, but consistently a good deal younger than the surrounding forest, where it looks like there was a clearing and it's been allowed to grow over. As maybe you point this out, everybody make a perception check as you look around.
It's been so long.
I think this is the puzzle. I think this is the puzzle. They burned it. They used the fire.
Why do I roll so low?
I got 16.
13?
4. Nat 20.
Every time.
For a 26 total.
The nat 20 on the history check for the roots was crazy.
He's rolled nat 20s every time there's like a...
I've changed my mind. I'd like to let everyone know that actually if your DM gives you dice, they're good dice. And it's fine and you can use them and they'll work.
I'm cursing that dice to roll a natural 1 next time you roll it.
It's because I trained them. I leave them at the 20.
I'm sorry. I want to pass, the cool things people notice around, but Ethan keeps rolling natural 20s, so be mad at him.
Sorry, guys.
Scratch, as you're looking around, you're looking at these trees that Odessa's pointing out, and all of a sudden you notice a little bit of a mixed emotion crosses your mind because you see a rabbit scuttling in the distance, and it's bounding across the forest floor between bushes and stuff. And the movement catches your eye as you follow it, and it kind of starts to run behind the group. And as you turn your head to follow the rabbit, you see a distance behind the group, a pretty far distance behind the group, but not out of sight. Something moves behind a tree. A person. It was a split second. Somebody was in the process of getting behind a tree to be out of sight, but you turned and saw them just a little too soon, and you caught their side before they fully hid themselves.
Okay.
And because you got a nat 20, you notice this person was wearing a cloak. A cloak with a hood pulled up. much like the assailant.
assassin.
I feel like I've really got a big, like, board in my head with a bunch of, like, pins with, like, red yarn
Yeah.
going between
Mhm.
different things, and I have no idea.
I'll give you one more thing. The figure, as it moved, it was trying to be smooth so it wouldn't draw attention with fast movement. But you also noticed, in a way that you can't quite place, that it looked like the movement was a little bit clunky. It was weird for a second. It wasn't elegant and fast. It wasn't like the person from last night. It wasn't like the assailant.
Did we ever actually see any features of the person from last night, or was it just the cloak and the fact that there was a hood? Do we know it was actually
The
a
person who clocked, I think it was Scratch and or Odessa at some point, saw the eyes looking through the window, or maybe, I can't remember off the top of my head, but whoever saw them saw the eyes.
And we presumably saw legs.
Well, the cloak goes down to the floor.
So we don't necessarily know they were human.
I'd say the eyes looked human. I won't make you make a roll for that, whoever
Okay.
noticed.
Okay. So this isn't
The eyes looked human.
what you're
yeah.
describing to Ethan isn't necessarily that it looks wrong, it just looks different from the previous person.
It might look a little wrong on an at 20.
Okay.
It looks a little different and a little wrong.
So now that got very serious. But
There's a very serious.
because this
Somebody's
seems
following
like
your-
this seems dangerous.
This is very open-ended. There's not something that you need to do, but right now you're the one who's noticed.
So my dilemma is, if the pattern holds, if we do nothing, there's gonna be 2 more holes in the trench coat. Should probably bring this up to the group. I guess I'll just like eyes forward and start talking to everyone. Like,
No one look behind. Don't react, but I think someone's following us.
All right, you've chosen your course of action. This figure could possibly hear you, so you need to make a stealth roll to have said this under your breath.
Totally fair.
it's a 13 stealth.
Okay.
Just no reaction in Philip's eyes.
He's wearing the same cloak as the guy with a gun.
As we're walking, can I start just trying to like rustle more leaves and maybe step on more twigs so we can try to have a more in-depth conversation?
You can do that. I would ask for a performance or even a deception check that this is happening naturally and not that you've changed your movement patterns all of a sudden when this cloaked figure just knew that they had to get behind the tree because somebody was turning their head back.
Why don't you sing that birthday song you were singing before?
Like, oh yeah,
If anybody wants to give a help action and describe how they're giving the help action, that would be okay.
Someone sniff their butt. Sniff each other.
Foxes do that?
You don't have to ask that question. The answer is yes.
Okay. Foxes can.
Sleeves does.
Sleeve starts dragging his butt on the ground.
Itching your butt like a dog on the carpet. Such an embarrassing thing to do if you think somebody's watching you. You can have advantage on the roll.
Right.
Wait, what did you call him?
Higgs.
That's a 16.
Forgot that was his nickname.
Did you think his name was Grape?
There's
that
no
logic?
way.
I thought his nickname was Grips, and we've been calling him Grape. I forgot there was an original one first.
It went Higgs, then Gribs. Gribs first with a B.
Oh.
Gribs
and then
first.
Grips. And then Grape.
I miss Gribs.
It was Grib's.
I forgot Gribs.
It was Gribs so briefly.
I got a 16.
Okay. You start rustling more branches and cracking twigs just to create a little more cover for the undercover conversation happening.
Do they look human?
They're moving weirdly. It's not right for some reason.
I don't want to risk getting shot again. How do we get out of this without either confronting them or showing up at maybe their group's doorstep? Because that's might be where we're headed.
How dense of an area are we in?
The forest is very dense throughout these old growth sections that haven't been touched by mining companies yet. These are trees in areas that are hundreds of years old. It's not a field with trees in it. It's a forest.
How do you lose someone? How far are they?
You'd guess they were probably a couple hundred yards behind you.
They're so far.
They're keeping a far distance, but they're staying on your trail, it seems.
The only problem that I'm thinking is like they're so far that like if they have a gun, because the other person with the same cloak had a gun, assuming it's not the same person that threw their gun away, there's no way we can close the distance, right?
Based on the events of last night, they might be targeting me again for some reason. So what if I stepped away to tinkle?
Yeah.
And then they might try to make a move on me. And then you guys are ready for that.
Why would you say tinkle?
Why would I not? What do you mean?
Actually, I guess.
Like, I could step a full, 30, 40 feet away.
Right, you're definitely the bait.
What if they just like stop and watch, from like the distance, from like, 'cause he said yards, like a couple hundred yards away, so they're far.
But that's why him
that might be-
tinkling is the distraction.
Well, it might be an indication that they're not necessarily looking for a confrontation. I mean, if you're thinking about it and thinking,
Yeah.
setting a trap for them, say if all of you were to stop, do you think they'd close the distance with you? Like, do you think they're too far behind and trying to close the distance, or do you think they're trying to stay far behind? We kind of transitioned to it fast, but you weren't walking for a few seconds away from the Holler and then this happened. You might have been walking for an hour or two towards the direction that Higs was being pulled.
I guess I assume they're trying to stay far behind only because we've only now noticed them. We have no idea how long they've been there. I would assume, I would err on the side of they're probably there longer than I would think, rather than, they probably just got there. That seems like a coincidence.
If I go and tinkle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even if they don't close the distance, could that give enough opportunity for someone to lay a trap or something?
My thought then is like if everybody stops and like I circle back around and try and come like to the side of the guy, right? Like I'm assuming if everybody stops, they'll just chill where they are like a couple hundred yards away and like watch. If you just like it would have to be something you can't tinkle. That'd be something that takes longer probably like if we stop to like forage for berries and like eat something.
Just take a rest.
Like if we just chill and like we're gonna take a short rest, but instead I am trying to circle around.
They might just notice that you're gone.
Well, if we're foraging, we're not all 100% in the same place. Like
So we split up.
So you go out foraging.
yeah, or yeah, I guess we all
I think
stop.
we need everyone to just disperse a little.
We need to be maybe in like a 50-foot radius or something.
I like that.
And I will tinkle at some point.
You're allowed.
I do have
no one's,
to tinkle.
no one's
I
telling
really
you
just-
can't.
Not related to the guy. I just have to.
Go ahead.
I've
It's
gotta
fine.
tinkle.
So, if I understand, everybody's planning on kind of fanning out in a natural manner.
Just say,
Yeah, like setting our stuff down, so it looks like we're
Setting your stuff
This is
down
our
for a
spot.
break. Higgs is going to go tinkle,
yeah.
and everybody else is going to go
Yeah.
scrounge for berries or some means of foraging or something as a cover for what you're doing.
Yeah, we're just gonna rest for a while.
But rest by like spreading out and
Yeah.
strolling.
Rest, grab some forage, and then reconvene after a little bit.
Sleeves, I do need you to stay with Odessa. Don't wander off or follow me or anything.
Okay.
He trusts Odessa.
It's true. Yeah.
Hmm.
There's clearly a responsible human out of the two. She's like very big and strong and stuff.
One of us has to tinkle. So
Yeah.
one of us can't be
Yeah,
responsible.
one of them won't
right
stop
now.
talking about how much he needs to tinkle. And the other one is trying to come up with a plan. So
Talking about it a little too much.
it's just a little much.
So we'll do important roles. Everybody needs to do a group performance or deception check to just have your body language be natural and not tense, to not give away that you're acting strangely, that this is just a normal break in the path to catch your breath. After that, Scratch, you have to roll a stealth check on your own to slip away and hopefully not be noticed. They might notice at some point that you're gone, but maybe you just went out of sight behind a bush or something. And Scratch, you'll also have to make a perception check
Do I get any bonus to this performance or deception because I do really have to tinkle? that's
Sure.
really serious.
Sure.
Yeah, for the first 2 minutes, he's not acting. He's just, that's real.
Can you do like the way like a guy at a urinal? It's like,
Yeah, I like put my hand up on the tree. I go,
Oh, all right.
Been
All
sitting on
right.
this one for a while.
No, yeah, I'm picturing it. Thank you for the sentence.
Great advantage.
Oh, we have that forever.
You roll with advantage, the performance or deception check. You can choose either one, but the rolls will be a group roll, so you need 2 successes to succeed.
Right.
The DC is, I guess it'll be an insight roll, so it'll be an opposed DC. It won't just be a flat number.
Sleeves gives Scratch enhanceability on Dex.
Enhance ability on Dex. Okay. So you are on 3 out of 4 for your next level of exhaustion,
Yes.
because that's a low level spell, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 16.
With advantage, I got a 10.
Oh.
19.
Like 13.
Like?
Is
it like a
It
little
does
more
matter.
or a little less?
Stealth is Dex, which is 1 plus
No, it's
3 plus.
performance or deception.
I have a -1 on it, so it's 11.
10, 11, 16, 19.
We only have to beat it twice, so the 2 of us have to be fine, right?
Yeah.
That's how group checks.
So that the top 2 of us have to be over it, so they have to be to 16.
I'll roll a crucial insight roll.
Just can't believe my first was in that one with the green dice. But it's okay, I got the 10.
You all spread out and begin your various foragings and tinklings, and Scratch, you can make your stealth roll to slip away unnoticed.
So this was with advantage from the enhanced ability. It's a 25.
Oh, that's so good.
Stealth time. Let's get stealthy. Blake, feeling stealthy?
I'm very loudly tinkling.
All right. Eric, feeling stealthy?
I'm shitting.
All right. Abby, feeling stealthy?
Oh yeah, I'm just sitting.
Sitting, shitting, and pissing.
What a
Cut it.
+1 for the
You thought you-
furries.
+1, does that make it? It's 2-0 furries right now?
2-0 furries. 2 furries. Oh, rest
The
of the
rest
world.
of the
Oh, roots that will consume the stars.
Oh for the roots.
Oh, for the roots. I rolled a perception check. I'll let you guys know the insight and the perception check are very on brand for this NPC.
That sounds like they're high.
So Scratch, make a perception check, your last check, to find this cloaked figure
Oh,
now that you're stealthing.
it's in that one. I have a lucky point. I have a luck point. I have a luck point. I have a luck point.
Yes.
Oh
luck
my
points.
god.
I just have one. Oh wait, we took a long rest.
You took a long
3
rest,
luck
yeah.
points.
You got to use more.
All
You
good.
had
Yeah,
one left over yesterday.
I had one left over. It's in that 2. Can I use a second luck point on the same roll?
I don't think the language of it allows. I'm not sure actually.
But
I think you can use it.
It just says
What's the point?
re-roll and choose the one that you like better. It doesn't say advantage.
There's no way that luck points are constrained so much that you can't just like you burn all of them if you
Because
want.
they're specifically not advantage. So I feel like I really need to get this roll.
got- we'll
It's
take-
not advantage. That's
we'll
a
take-
very good point.
All right. That's a 25.
Yay.
25 perception.
Scratch, you begin walking, stretching, playing up the rest, the short rest that the group is taking. As soon as you find yourself naturally walking behind a rather large tree trunk, go into stealth mode. You get low to the ground.
I'm slinking.
You slink behind bushes, keeping low, finding your way through maybe divots in the ground, little channels where you can move unnoticed, and you get hundreds of feet back over the course of a few minutes, moving as stealthily as you can, and you look out, and a few dozen feet away, you're just behind the cloaked figure, and you see them with a hand on a tree trunk, standing almost entirely behind it.
They're pissing.
Almost copying my stance.
You see one hand up high on the tree trunk as they lean into a little bit, of the other one gripping the side of the tree trunk as their head is poked ever so slightly around, hood up. They're watching the rest of the group. What do you do?
So my plan is to maul this person.
I'm all for that.
Is that everyone
Please.
chill with that?
Go into a rage and pounce.
I think I'm gonna go into a rage and pounce. I'm gonna take one step to the side, so I'm on the side where they're leaning. So that way, when I pounce, they're just gonna like tumble to one side of the tree instead
Tumble
of
out
it.
into the open.
Yeah. And then I'll just go into a rage and pounce. I'll do one claw and then one bite to try to grapple, I guess.
Make sure to make a lot of noise too, so we can.
Oh, it'll be loud. It'll be loud. This person will be screaming. It'll be loud. Unless there's some kind of weird magic construct thing that doesn't have feelings, and we'll jump off cliffs.
We will roll initiative real quick, just between you and the cloaked figure.
Oh.
Everybody else may be able to join later in a second, but we'll just resolve the surprise round first. See when they come out of the surprise round. No matter what, I'm not going to screw you here. You get your full surprise round. You're pouncing. They haven't noticed you. You're heavily stealth. They haven't seen anything. But go ahead and roll initiative real quick.
Got it. It's an 8.
We also don't want to kill this person, right?
It's a melee weapon. I can do non-lethal,
Okay.
right?
At the very least, you're planning on knocking them down, right? It's not
Yeah,
like
I'm
you're
gonna,
knocking
like-
them down out into the open.
I'm trying to like pin them and bite them and hold them down.
Sure, you're like
Bite them.
you're attempting to essentially like instead of an attack necessarily, using more like an action to make a strength or athletics check or something to push them onto the ground and land on top of their chest, ready to take your attacks.
No, I definitely want to be doing damage this turn. I just will grapple with the attack.
Well,
It
so
was
there's
non-lethal.
there's a shoving attack, and then there's if you're grappling with your you'd bite a leg or something. You wouldn't knock them down out into the open. I think you'll have to go with one or the other. I can tell you, initiative is public information, right? You will go first.
Uh-huh.
You can do both things before they're able to gain their senses and swing on you, perhaps.
Also, if I get 2 attacks, is a shove one attack or is the shove the attack action?
I think shoves the attack action.
Okay.
I would say you don't have to spend a lot of time debating because you will be able to
I'll get both anyways, yeah.
shove and then attack.
I think I will shove. I want them prone.
All right, shoving first. You slink quietly behind the cloaked, hooded figure, looking out at your accomplices, your friends,
My crew.
your crew,
The furries.
The furries.
the furries, but maybe trending towards friends just a little bit over the last couple days. And you pounce onto this person, make an opposed athletics or strength or dex. You get to choose one of the 3. I'll make a roll with disadvantage because this person is fully surprised, can't react, doesn't have their bearings.
I'm gonna do dex because I got advantage still. How long does the enhance ability last?
An hour.
Oh, okay. I'm totally fine then. That's a dirty 20.
With a 5 on the dice, you see you knock this figure to the ground as you pounce, leap, hit them, your front legs powerfully, digging in all 4 of them into the ground as you rocket yourself up and forward into the midsection, into the side of this figure. As you do, and the figure begins to fall to the ground, you feel something very strange, like your shoving attack has done some insane damage or something, like you're going through the hooded figure, and then you see it falls and you land on top of it, and the figure under the cloak is in 2 halves. The face, as you land on top of the figure, is the face of a large bobcat, as another one is squirming under your back legs, going, "What's happened? What's going on? Shut up! Shut up!" And they look up at you. Hello? And that's where we'll end this episode of Fire and Smoke, Blight and Bloom. If you want to keep up with the show, make sure to follow me on my personal Dungeons & Dragons TikTok account at WitchDunphy, WHICHDUNPHY. If you're enjoying the show so far, it would mean a lot to us if you gave us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or however you listen to the show. It means a lot to us. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before the end of the episode?
Yes.
I called it.
In my
I
head,
said they're not human.
in my head, I was imagining like it's probably done in so many different like shows, movies, whatever, where there's like the cloak, and in my head is like there's birds like controlling it. And that's why it's like weird.
Oh, like
so I was like,
swarm.
there's something in here that is like
It's definitely
moving
not a
this
person.
cloak.
Yeah.
I just can't believe they copied your two foxes at a
Yeah,
trench
Well,
I did
if
think
you
about
remember
that.
back when that happened, I said, I can't believe you guys are doing, and then I stopped myself because I didn't want to spoil it. I said, I knew that at some point this figure would, for some reason or other that you guys don't know, begin following the group. I had this idea in my head about it. These are NPCs that I created. So I was doing the two bobcats in a trench coat thing. And then you guys are like, let's do two foxes in a trench coat. It's going to work awesome. They were just doing it a lot more convincingly. It looks like they stood a full height.
They
It looks
probably
like,
had practice or something. That's not our fault.
well, it looks like maybe the one on bottom was walking on its hind legs. And bobcats are rather large compared to American red foxes.
How do you explain the? Is it a hand?
Well, I was gonna have the
Couldn't
sleeves.
quite make it out.
I was gonna have the sleeves be over the hand. Shoot.
Couldn't quite make it out. It's fine.
We'll ADR that.
So I guess it is the same cloak. They just stole it from the dead body.
That makes sense to me. There's no shot you were assassinated by two bobcats in a cloak wielding a handgun.
But also, it seems like they've practiced this, which implies that they've had the coat for more than 12 hours.
You think they've drilled it to the point where they're like a machine? Like they could two tap somebody in the chest and then
No.
run into the woods and
But
dive off a cliff?
They're always pretty good at doing the cloak thing. So maybe they've had the cloak for longer than
No,
12
but
hours.
it still looked wrong.
It looked wrong. It definitely didn't look like the
Okay.
original person, you know?
I don't know. It's just the two bobcats in a trench coat, and you copied us.
Yeah, that's not very creative.
I bet
That's
between
great.
sessions he came up with it. I
Two-
bet he's lying.
Two things in a trench coat stacked on top of each other look like a human. That is our
That's a furry thing,
unique
yeah.
Yeah.
furry idea.
I was really happy to introduce the two bobcats in a trench coat.
I think it's funny.
You're gonna love these guys. You guys are gonna love these guys.
I'm so glad you didn't do damage.
Yeah. I turns out they probably have way less health than I thought they did. I thought they were gonna be an actual enemy that could take on the four of us. And in that case, I'm like, I can't waste a turn of damage.
Bobcats are large, scary creatures. There's a part in your backstory we could mention, but maybe that comes up next episode. Maybe with
Forgot
some
about that.
roles.
So far, the animals don't seem directly connected to the angels. Like they're affiliated with each other.
Yeah, I don't think they're like on a team or anything.
Yeah. So
I assume this is a
hopefully they're
third party.
good.
We can keep them.
And
They're furry.
We can
keep them.
explain this whole thing by saying someone with the same cloak shot me dead yesterday.
And then we can give them the practice gun and have them go do something.
Exactly.
Oh, we can train them. Our own counter assassin. That's actually
Then
two
we
bobcats in
can
a cloak.
promise a gun to two separate groups of animals.
We're an actual arms dealers.
Is that your read that these guys in the exact same cloak are totally unrelated to the other guy in the cloak?
Yeah, probably.
I don't
Probably.
know. I don't know yet. I have an open mind.
Well, at the end of the episode, we say,
Slaves
cut.